Thank you for visiting the Combs Waterkotte website and our Federal Check and Credit Card Fraud Defense Lawyer website page. Regardless of the crime, we believe everyone is entitled to the best possible legal defense in the state of Missouri. We have created this audio version of our website page to help you better understand our services and protect your future, freedom, and reputation. If you have been charged with federal check fraud or credit card fraud in the state of Missouri, we can help. Don't face the state and court system alone during your federal check fraud or credit card fraud charge. Contact one of our Missouri federal check fraud or credit card fraud defense lawyers today at 314-900. Help to protect your rights and future. Combs Waterkotte is committed to handling all federal check fraud or credit card fraud defense cases with confidential care and understanding. We are not here to judge you. We believe that everyone in Missouri, regardless of the crime they have been charged with, deserves an aggressive legal defense and to have their legal rights protected. With that being said, let's discuss hiring our federal check fraud or credit card fraud defense lawyers in Missouri and setting up a free consultation with our attorneys. Federal check fraud or credit card fraud in Missouri. Federal check and credit card fraud cases are more common than most people realize and often prosecuted harshly by the U.S. government. Combs Waterkotte's Missouri federal check and credit card fraud attorneys defend individuals facing access device fraud, bank fraud, and identity theft charges across both the eastern and western districts of Missouri. If you're under investigation or already charged, our team is ready to protect your rights. What is federal check and credit card fraud? Federal check and credit card fraud refers to the unlawful use of financial instruments, such as checks, credit cards, debit cards, or account numbers, to obtain money, goods, or services by deceit. These crimes become federal offenses when they involve interstate commerce, the U.S. mail, or electronic systems like the Internet. Credit card fraud may involve using a stolen or counterfeit card, trafficking in card numbers, or unauthorized use of access devices. Check fraud may include altering checks, using forged or stolen checks, or depositing fraudulent checks into personal or business accounts. Prosecutors don't have to prove you personally stole a card or wrote a fake check, only that you used or possessed fraudulent instruments with intent to defraud. Even minor losses or Missouri-only conduct can trigger federal charges if they involved federally regulated systems. Is credit card fraud a federal felony? Yes. Most federal cases are charged as felonies, often carrying 10 to 20 years in prison depending on the facts and prior history. What is the federal law for credit card fraud? The key statute is 18 U.S.C. Section 1029, which prohibits various forms of access device fraud. Additional statutes cover bank fraud, wire fraud, and unauthorized card use across state lines. Federal statutes and agencies involved in credit card fraud cases. Federal credit card and check fraud charges often arise under statutes designed to protect the integrity of electronic transactions and financial systems. The most frequently used laws include 18 U.S.C. Section 1029, Access Device Fraud, covers use, trafficking, and possession of counterfeit or unauthorized cards, numbers, or codes with intent to defraud. 18 U.S.C. Section 1344. Bank fraud involves attempts to defraud a financial institution or obtain money from it by false pretenses. 18 U.S.C. Section 1343. Wire fraud applies when fraud is carried out via Internet, email, or other wire communications. 15 U.S. Code Section 1644. Fraudulent use of credit cards covers the transport or use of credit cards obtained through fraud, theft, or other illegal means across state lines or through interstate commerce. Several federal agencies are involved in investigating and prosecuting these cases, including U.S. Secret Service, leads investigations involving credit card, debit card, and access device fraud. Federal Trade Commission, FTC, enforces laws against consumer fraud, including identity theft and deceptive practices. U.S. Postal Inspection Service, USPIS, handles fraud involving mailed checks, cards, or account data. Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3, a joint effort by the FBI and National White Collar Crime Center to process cyber fraud reports. These agencies often collaborate in multi-jurisdictional investigations, especially when activity crosses state lines or uses digital platforms. Penalties for federal check and credit card fraud in Missouri. Federal credit card and check fraud offenses are typically prosecuted as felonies and can lead to years in prison, substantial fines, and restitution orders. The penalties depend on the type of offense, the dollar amount involved, and whether the defendant has prior fraud convictions, repeat offenses, large-scale fraud schemes, or cases involving organized groups can result in enhanced sentencing under federal guidelines. A conviction may also lead to long-term consequences, such as loss of employment, restitution payments, and damaged credit or reputation. Federal credit card fraud defense strategies in Missouri. Every federal fraud case is unique, but certain defense strategies regularly arise in check and credit card fraud cases. At Waterkotte, our Missouri federal fraud attorneys assess the government's evidence and build a tailored defense focused on your rights and freedom. Lack of intent. The government must prove that you knowingly intended to defraud. If you used a card or check without knowing it was stolen or forged, such as receiving a fraudulent gift card or being misled by someone else, this lack of intent can be a powerful defense. Lack of knowledge. Defendants may not realize the card or check was fraudulent. For example, you might have believed you were using a legitimate business or personal account. Showing your reasonable belief can counter the government's claim of criminal knowledge. Duress. If you were coerced or threatened into participating in fraudulent conduct, you may have a valid duress defense. This is especially relevant in organized fraud rings or trafficking cases involving intimidation. Improper search or seizure. Federal investigators must follow the law when collecting evidence. If they searched your home, devices, or bank records without a proper warrant or probable cause, our attorneys may seek to suppress the evidence and weaken the case against you. Mistaken identity or lack of evidence. In many digital fraud cases, it's not always clear who made a transaction. We challenge the reliability of digital logs and surveillance and push back if prosecutors can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you were the one who committed the crime. Plea negotiations. In some cases, we can reduce charges or avoid prison through strategic plea negotiations. If the evidence is strong, focusing on lesser included offenses or restitution may yield a better outcome. How do you defend against credit card fraud? Defenses often focus on lack of intent, mistaken identity, or illegal searches. The right approach depends on the specific facts of your case and the government's evidence. Why choose Waterkotte for federal fraud defense? When you're facing federal check or credit card fraud charges, you need more than just a defense. You need a team that knows how to fight and win in federal court. Here's what you can expect when you hire Waterkotte. What we provide: free confidential legal consultations, rapid response to arrests, indictments, and investigations, thorough case reviews and motion practice, negotiations and trial strategies tailored to your circumstances. Why clients trust us. Thousands of resolved criminal cases across Missouri, experienced in defending federal fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy charges. Direct access to your attorney, not a case manager. Respected by prosecutors and judges for our preparation and persistence. Missouri Federal Credit Card Fraud, lawyers with nationwide resources. Combs, Waterkotte brings the resources of a large-scale defense team with the personal service of a Missouri-based firm. Our attorneys appear regularly in both the eastern and western districts of Missouri, and we're prepared to take on complex cases involving multiple jurisdictions, digital evidence, or interstate conspiracies. Whether your case starts with a federal indictment or an agency investigation, we move quickly to protect your rights and build your defense. Protecting your freedom and reputation in federal fraud cases. Federal fraud charges don't just threaten your freedom, they put your career, finances, and name at risk. Our Missouri federal check and credit card fraud lawyers understand what's at stake. We act fast to counter media exposure, seal records when possible, and challenge the government's narrative before it defines you. Our attorneys fight to protect your future long before your case ever reaches a courtroom. Contact our Missouri Federal Credit Card Fraud attorneys today. If you're under investigation or facing federal check or credit card fraud charges in Missouri, don't wait to get legal help. The sooner you act, the more options you may have. Contact Combs Waterkotte or call 314-900 HELP today for a free confidential consultation with a defense team that knows how to win federal fraud cases.